Welcome to Center Heist Productions. Please hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right hand corner. Muchly would appreciate that. Thank you to my followers and subscribers. Leave your comments at the end of the videos. We like to see what you think and just keep it respectful. That's all we demand at this channel. I thank you. Tell your friends and family about it. If you come across the channel, please hit the likes and subscribe. It helps the channel to grow as we've been at this over about 2.5 years. We're in that ball frame range, and we base keep a lot of our direction being we want to stay an integral channel, so we don't focus on gossip much. We rather wait till actual factual information drops, and we don't get all hyped and whoa, 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 just to drag you in. We're level headed here, and we have a good community. We won't just get clickbait and stuff like that here. Anyway, so we're going to discuss this. I'm going to promote something here since it's my channel. Aurora um, Contracting. Okay. Oh, this is not picking it up. Sorry. There you go. Aurora Contracting. It's in Nova Scotia. Um, this company does a lot of construction work and stuff like that, and they do quite the great jobs. I'm just promoting this, and if you have a project that you need done, please contact them. Gentleman's name is Glenn, and you can tell him if you see that information when you look up Aurora on Google. You can look it up on Facebook as well. It's in Nova Scotia, HRM, and it's Glenn George Thomas. He's the president, and that's what it looks like information wise. I don't know if you can zoom in on that or not. Contact him, and when you contact him, let him know Andrew sent you. So muchly appreciated. You would good quotes here, good price ranges, not break your pocketbook, and good quality work. So we go with that. Then I also want to promote James Sabian, and that's my tech who builds my computers. He's here in HRM as well. I don't know if that zooms in on it very well. And just to promote him as well, contact him. You can find him up on Facebook as well under James Sabian at eastlink.ca. And then Aurora is support at auroracraft.ca. So those are two. Keep them in mind. Great. I only deal with people who aren't, don't try to milk you, and they do good quality work. So good there. Now we're going to get into the review of the Habs went into St. Louis for the start their road trip. I normally go through all the goal by 6-1 was the final score. This was a disaster in the making. The Blues came out right from the forefront of this game and were smoking the Habs. This was not a good game on the Habs standpoint. They weren't ready for it. They couldn't seem to adjust. Never did get in. They never could get climb back into this thing. They were manhandled, and I mean manhandled. St. Louis was just pounding them to the, and I mean hard hitting. They knew who the players to target. They went after the important players on the Habs, and they shut us down. And I'm sorry, but if the Habs are going to die by Montembeault, if you cannot clue in as a coaching staff that this guy is tired, needs a break, this should have been done much sooner, in my opinion. He's shown signs of this for about 4 or 5 games now. That overplay of him, and then you got a guy that you keep rusty on the bench, so that when he comes in, he's just going to be showing rust because he sat too long. So you got a little bit of a dilemma there that this coaching staff has kind of created. I don't know what's in St. Louis' head. I love St. Louis, but when it comes to terms of dying by Montembeault, you got to have some clue in, and this is where I believe, the lack of experience of this coaching staff shone a bit. Montembeau's, it's great to you can give him the majority of the games. This guy's already played well above the amount of games he played last year. This guy's tired. They should have been throwing in Dobish just to keep him in, and so he wouldn't be rusty, because that's going to be a problem when he has to come in. And I think it's time they play him a game. Unfortunately, don't get your hopes up because he's going to be rusty as heck. That's on the coaching staff, and how the goaltending coaching staff doesn't clue into this ahead of time and doesn't, or maybe it's just that Marty doesn't want to listen. I don't know what it is, but this team is shooting themselves in the foot. We're getting, last night was just horrific. We're getting a lot of times, it shows the signs when you're getting 2 or 3 goals that a goaltender's allowing in that he should have. And this has happened for about 3 or 4 games. So the message was there to the coaching staff. It's time to get this guy some rest. If you want him to be useful down the stretch, you still got to, and then you don't want the other guy to be rusty. You want him to be able to come in and steal whatever game T comes into, and that poor bugger is going to be rusty. So they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot now. I think they don't. I think they're at a point where they have no choice but to play Dobish. Um, Unfortunately, he may not be 100, at his best because he's sat so much, but hopefully he'll get into the groove quickly. Let's pray. But he should play. But this dying by Montembeau is a bunch of foolishness. Nothing wrong with him. He's well above it. I think he's played 53 games. That's almost 60 games, and he played 40 something, like 41 last year. That's just outrageous. That's far too much. So if they're trying to put themselves out of the playoffs, they're going to. If they keep going this route, something's got to give. Sorry, got to start getting Dobish in the mix a bit more because Monty's tired. This is not a knock against Monty, but when he gets a goal, he gets fatigued. Soft goals start going in, and they've been going in. And last night, you don't pull them until it's 5-1. There's a problem. That's a problem. You don't take a timeout. You don't, like, after the second period, he should have been pulled. I don't know what the coach. There's just some very questionable decisions not being made when a game's going on, and I don't get it. So this was a disgrace of a showing. This game was a disgrace. Kid yourself not now. I give full credit to Jackeye and Anderson trying to get the team back in the game. There was no doubt. Now, Newhook, I will say, was probably one of the better players last night. Um, I don't know the rest, and Heineman's always gives you what he's got 100%, and he hits, so he's always got it down. But the rest of the team, they were bullied. The pairing of Matheson and Carrier, they got hammered, and they looked bad last night because St. Louis zoomed in on them, zoned in, and took it to them right from the first hit of the game. And they sent a message, and they threw these two who are usually the guys, the pairing that you rely on to hold the fort, in defensive situations, and they were just utterly useless last night. The way St. Louis came at the forecheck was heavy, hot, heavy. St. Louis was hitting, not just hitting, they were hitting hard. They were making those hits felt, and we needed a better response, and we didn't have it. So the team didn't help Monty much, but when a goalie's Monty should have been out of the net games ago and been alternated. He's tired. There's no doubt. But I find sometimes a lot of those goals could have been stopped. But yes, the defense, created screens, didn't pick up their men, didn't help them much. But it's also to say there were some shots there that were easy shots that he easily should have caught. And it's funny when he's beat. I don't like the attitude of just using his team as an excuse. He should be fighting. If you can't see it perfectly, fight your way and try to get your body moved to do something when a shot's coming in. You don't get that effort from him. That's one thing I don't like about his game. But overall, they all played bad. This was a horrible, horrible game. I don't know what more to say. 6-1. That's just not called for. It's disgraceful. Um, first period, 2-1, which was respectable looking, but it wasn't a great period for Montreal. Then the second period, 2 goals to nothing for the Blues, and 2 more goals to nothing for the Blues in the third period. Bennington looked sharp last night. He was on his game. Yeah, he was. There was no comparison. We're not getting the goaltending, and we haven't for about 4 or 5 games now. You like even in Ottawa, I think it started. You could start to see fatigue in the games. And then Montembeault played for us. Holloway got the winning goal, and it's just uh, Broberg. This kid for St. Louis looked great last night, and Robert Thomas each had a goal and 3 assists. And the St. Louis Blues beat the Montreal Canadiens 6-1 Tuesday night to extend their winning streak, best streak, to 7 games. Broberg recorded 4 points in the game for the first time, coupled with Minnesota's regulation home loss to Vegas. St. Louis is now 2 points back of the first wild card spot in the Western Conference. Jordan Cairo got his 31st goal of the season. Dylan Holloway, Alexander Texier, Jack Bolduc also scored, and Jordan Bennington made 24 stops. 3 stars, no question. Brodberg goal, 3 assists, 4+4. He was phenomenal, this kid. Thomas loved this guy, and boy, was he taking it to the Habs. 1 goal, 3 assists, +2. Holloway, 1 goal, 1 assist, +2. And how Broberg and Holloway were let go by Edmonton, I'll never understand that. So 18:07 of the first period, Cairo scores, assisted by Broberg and Holloway. 18:54, Nick Suzuki gets one, assisted by Hudson and Caulfield. And then at 19:54, Holloway puts St. Louis ahead and puts them ahead for good, assisted by Broberg and Thomas. Second period, 3:21, Robert Thomas scores, assisted by Broberg and Radek Fiasca. And 9:09, Alexander Texier, assisted by Cam Fowler and Matthew Joseph. And then 10:12, the third period, Philip Broberg, Jake Neighbors, and Robert Thomas. They're all over this board, those 2 or 3 players. 18:02, Broadbook, assisted by Thomas and Cam Fowler. Total shots were 37-25. That's not good for the Habs. It was 37-25 for Blues, 26-25 for Montreal in the hits. Face-offs, 28-27 for the Blues. Power plays, 1 for 3 for the Blues, 0 for 2 for the Habs, and they're just trying to be too cute on the power plays. Start getting some shots and bodies in front of the net. 30 penalty minutes for Montreal, 8 for the Blues, 5 giveaways each. Takeaways, 8-3 for the Blues. Block shots, 15-13 for Montreal. This was ridiculous. Some of the penalty, I'll say the officiating wasn't the greatest. However, you can't blame it just on the officiating. Montreal didn't come to play, and they looked like they did at the beginning of the year. This was a disorganized group. However, St. Louis and Montreal were both in the position where this is a playoff hockey, and the Blues came to play, and they treated this like a playoff game, and they won it clear out. They wanted this game way more than the Habs. This wasn't even close. This was a disgrace of a performance. And our coaching staff has got to wake up. You got to look at the ratio of the amount of games you're putting on your even. Montembeault is not a starter that can play this amount of games. That's common sense that you see. He's well above. You got to start playing your backup here and there. And then you're wasting this kid on the bench, and now you're going to have to use him periodically, and then he may be too rusty because he hasn't been up to speed because you've not used him. Not to defend Primo when he was here in Montreal, but if you're going to sit a guy too much, how do you expect him to come out of it? Now, Primo was a different story. He had opportunities where he was playing, and he just isn't NHL material. But I don't know how you think when you finally have a good backup, he's going to do any amount of good when he's not in sync not enough hockey. He's not played enough consistently. You're shooting yourselves in the foot in the playoff race. We got 13 games left. We got the Flyers up next. They played a horrible game. They're probably going to come out full tilt at us. And this is a road trip. This is going to count. We got to come out of here one way or the other with 4 or 5 points, or we're done. I mean, we had the best opportunity last night with all the teams in our division that we're fighting with for a playoff spot, and we blew the opportunity. This was a perfect team to get up there and play the game. You have to get your forecheck going. You got to be more together, and you're gonna have to when you're in these type of games. You got to play a physical game, and you better have the right goaltender in when he's not overtired, because the pub, the fans have seen this for 4 games at least, if not more. Monty's tired now. He needed a break or two. There should have been 1 or 2 times that Doba should have been in that net just to get him rest and he can come back fresher. You're shooting yourself in the foot, and I'm concerned. This is why I don't think we're going to make it. I think we're going to end up. Thank God we got a couple games uh, again, extra to the Rangers, because in hand, because boy, we're going to need them, but we're letting the opportunity slip away. This is a veteran team that could steal that spot, and you got the Islanders right there too, and they're playing good hockey, and they play tonight. We better be ready to utilize those extra games. We got to start playing hockey. We can't use this as an excuse. This was a poor, pathetic performance. Like I said, Alex Newhook by far was the one of the best players out there last night. I loved Anderson's performance. I liked Galley's. I liked Dvorak's. That line was about the most reputable line last night, and I liked Heinemann's game. I just don't find we got enough from, and I'm not quite sure what Patrick Lonnie was doing. It is what it is. I'm not sure, and the defense just got busted last night. And I think you got to clue in sooner. The physicality has to come from everybody. You got guys like Struble, and even when Jack I did want to get something going, and Anderson did, that's got to come sooner, and you got to follow through. Mind you, the referees definitely gave us extra penalties, which was clueless. Definitely penalized us and hurt us more. But this team is going to have to get it together, and I don't know. I am really concerned now. I mean, I said, and I will say, they've already done more than I expected, so I'm proud of them. But if they're really truly wanting to sneak into that second wild, and they're in it now, but if they want to hold on to that second wild card, because Ottawa just keeps winning, you know. Um, however, I think they lost last night, um, and we couldn't capitalize on it. Because everybody lost in our division last night. Just a shame that we couldn't capitalize on it. Yeah, the Sens lost to the Sabres, the lowly Sabres, and we couldn't capitalize. Would have got us closer. But yeah, there's not much other to say than this was a total disaster. And look, this is a reminder at the beginning of the year. We better get a grip on this because we need to beat Philly. And after that, I think we've got, who do we got? Oh, Carolina and Florida. Somehow you got to take a game from one of those two teams, and even the other team, you're probably going to have to push them overtime and at least get a point. I don't know how if that's possible, and especially the way we've now been playing in the last 3 or 4 games. I don't like what we're. It looks like the Habs have run out of gas, so my concerns are there. I say go Habs, go! Proud of what they've done, but they got to wake up if they truly want that to be get a taste of the playoffs. This You ain't got time to be tired. Everybody else is in the same boat. You got to get your gloves on and fight your way for this spot. You got to give it every morsel and the work, hard work, and take the punishment and pour out the punishment that you're going to need to actually hold that spot and get in the playoffs. So, with that being said, better decision making's got to be definitely be made by the coaches, because this goaltending could be what costs us too. You got to have a point where some saves are made at critical times and they're just not being saved. We're getting soft goals put on us. is bad enough that we're not playing as a team right now. Like we're playing like we're out of gas. It's bad enough for that, but your goalie's got to come through periodic, and we're just not seeing that in the last 4 games. And some better decision making has got to be made by the coaching staff. Bottom dollar. So with that being said, uh, again, we have the Thursday. I think we have a game. Who is it against? I believe 27th. We have the Flyers again, and that's going to be crucial. We got to, and they're going to be hungry too because they got slaughtered too. So let's hope we come out fighting and swinging hard because we got to get into playoff mode. So, with that being said, thank you for watching. You've seen it here at Center Heist Productions. Thank you for following. Where the puck drops first, and tell your friends and family about it. And we'll catch you in the review of the Flyers game. God bless.